Welcome to the Shift Your Story, Change Your Life podcast. I'm Allie Rose, certified clinical hypnotherapist and subconscious success coach. I help my clients stop self-sabotage and feel safe to create more wealth, worth, and wellness from within. If you find yourself stuck repeating the same unhelpful patterns in your life, health, business, or relationships, even after all the mindset work, this podcast is for you. Each week, you'll hear deep dives into the hidden beliefs shaping your life and live hypnocoaching sessions where someone shifts a block in real time. Because willpower isn't the problem, your subconscious story is. And when you shift it at the root, everything else begins to change. So let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to the Shift Your Story, Change Your Life podcast. In today's episode, you'll hear a powerful hypnocoaching session with a woman who has spent much of her life feeling distracted, bored, and restless, always reaching for the next thing, the next place, the next job, idea, or chapter. On the surface, this can look like trouble focusing, difficulty staying with one thing, or simply having a personality that craves change. But underneath it, we uncover something much deeper. We begin with conscious conversation and then move into the subconscious, where we meet the part of her that has been driving this restlessness for years and begin to understand what it has been trying to protect her from all along. This is such an important conversation because so many people live inside this pattern without even realizing it. As always, for privacy and safety, portions of the hypnotic part of this session have been gently edited, but what remains is the full heart of the conversation. As you listen, I want you to consider, where do distraction, boredom, or restlessness show up in your life? And what part of you may have learned that standing still and going deep with one person, place, or project is not safe? All right, let's dive in. All right. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate taking the time for me. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what we're going to find out and delve deeper into the mysteries of our brain
Yes,
and
yes.
how everything functions.
Me too. So tell me a little bit more about the focus and attention and distraction issues that you're having.
Like I mentioned, I think since I was very young, I find myself being interested in a lot of things simultaneously. And I would get distracted in the fact that I would like get bored with the subject. I would basically delve into something and then it would have my focus and my attention.
Mhm.
But after I've read about it and looked into it, then I get bored. And then I basically get distracted and move on to the next thing. And it's been a pattern in my life, really, into adulthood as well. And it's not necessarily a bad or a negative thing, but when I look at other people's lives, you see more of a steadiness in their lives where they have steady partners, steady family life, friends, jobs, everything. But with me, it's been jumping around a lot, even moving different countries. And I think people that have this like normality, what we call in society normality, they look into my life and they don't really understand. But I think it's also for me, it's been a blessing because it's opened so many doors to me because when I'm that mode, I'm very driven and I go for things, and I try different things and I learn several languages. So there's always a flip side to the coin. But I think that is the core of it, basically not being focused too long on one specific thing.
Right. So what I'm hearing is that you get distracted and bored easily.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your childhood, your relationship with your parents.
So I come from a very loving family. I'm one of 3 children. I'm the middle child. I think now that I look at my father, he was also quite restless. He could never stay at home, always busy with 10 different kinds of things. He had one career, but 10 careers. So he was the one that took me out of my comfort zone. He always challenged me. He took me on trips. He basically exposed me to so many things, and I'm very grateful for that. But it caused a lot of friction in our family house because my mother was more the opposite. She was the introvert. She stayed at home, the traditional wife,
Mm.
but not to have a husband around, and I just remember there were times when she was always crying and she was like, waiting on my father to come home, and he would come late at night, or he would stay away for many days. He would go on trips and not come back. And those days there were no cell phones, there were not like connectivity like today. So I think that left a very big impression on my life, because ultimately I didn't come actually from a very healthy family in the sense of parents having a healthy marriage.
Right.
So it affected me as well, looking into what is marriage? Is it something that I want to, you know, pursue? Is it important for me in life?
Mhm.
So again, that restlessness, unsettledness was there from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. What was your relationship like with each of your parents?
So my father was extremely strict. He's a very patriotic person, but also like you know, the father of the house figure, like very, very demanding in the sense of demanding respect, and we couldn't question a lot of things. We couldn't really rebel against a lot of things. What he said was law, it was patriarchy.
Mhm,
And I just think I had a lot of respect for my father, but I also challenged him a lot.
mhm,
But there was a lot of love, there was a lot of care. They always encouraged me to perform, to be the best in school. I had to be the best in sports, I had to be the best academically. Again, everything was just always a lot. I had to do athletics, ballet, playing the piano,
mhm,
going on school camps, be academically very, you know, like, how can I say, not lazy, always show performing. So I was very driven as a child, but it came from my father's side. But in a loving way, I mean, but definitely very patriarchy and very strict. Me also didn't allow a lot of friends over. So I became very isolated in that sense.
mhm.
My parents were strict with times, in what times people could come to our house, what times they could come and visit us,
Right.
who could come and visit us. So in a sense, I was very isolated. And he also didn't believe in on a Sunday we had to stay at home. I couldn't go to the beach with my friends. And also I live in South Africa, so it is quite an unsafe country in certain parts. It's not a thing just to go and walk at night somewhere in the streets. It is quite unsafe. So I think they also wanted to protect us. But my mother, like I say, she was more the romantic type. She was into musicals and taking us to concerts and operas and the finer things in life.
Right.
Yeah, but my mom was amazing, and she was kind-hearted. She was soft-spoken.
Right.
So she was very much the opposite of my father.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I had that dual.
Right.
I don't know if it's quite even a balance. I think it was imbalance.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything else that you think would be important for me to know before we dive into our session?
Yeah, so I think what is important to know is that when I was about 12 years old,
Mhm,
I started feeling, I think that's when the anxiety started creeping in,
mhm.
and also the unsettledness in my home because my parents became quite verbal. There was a lot of verbal abuse, and I started pulling out my hair. Like I think they call it trichotillomania.
Yes.
So it's like you have this nervous condition, underlying nervous condition,
Mhm.
and then things that are not settled in your environment start triggering you.
Mm.
But because you can't escape it, you do different things. And I started like literally I pulled out like a lot of hair, like at the
Mhm.
back of my head, fidgeting, biting your nails, scratching your skin,
Right. Yeah. 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 Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that with me. We're going to dive into the session if you're ready.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah. All right. So I want you to just go ahead and make yourself comfortable, however you want to get comfortable. If you're good like that, you're fine.
Mhm.
I want you to go ahead and take a deep breath in and out. Take another deep breath. Breathe in and out. And one final time, go ahead and take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, the muscles and nerves in and around your eyes are becoming heavy, droopy, drowsy. So now I want you to just let your eyes go wherever they want to go and allow a drifting, floating feeling to develop in your body. So just one more time, go deeper, drift deeper, sink deeper, at least 100 times deeper. That's perfect. You are responding perfectly, exactly as I knew you would, because I already know that you are incredibly open and receptive, and your mind is incredibly powerful. So now we're going to explore this part of you that gets distracted and bored easily. So I want you to just imagine that you've gone inside yourself, you've turned your eyes inward, and I want you to go ahead and scan your body until you have found where you carry the part of you that gets distracted and bored easily. And I want to assure you that this part of you is there because it thinks that it might have some useful role, function, purpose, and or intention in your life. So whenever you notice where you carry this part of you in your body, can you let me know where it's located?
I think it's my neck area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want you to just imagine that you're able to reach into your neck area and you're able to pull this part of you out of you, this part of you that gets distracted and bored easily. And I want you to tell me, what does this part of you look like? Can you give it a color, texture, shape, or size?
It's towards the red color, like more fiery.
Mhm.
Yeah, fire energy. Like very warm.
Okay. I want to ask you, how do you feel about this part of you? What emotions come up for you as you're looking at it?
I think it's the driving force in my life.
Mhm.
It keeps me it keeps me going, keeps me motivated.
Mhm.
I I don't know if it's something that I would like to totally let go of because then I wouldn't know who I am without it, if it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, we don't have to get rid of it. We can just see if it can find a more helpful way to show up in your life.
Mhm.
So I want you to go ahead and I want you to ask that part of you that gets distracted and bored easily, what is your role in my life? Why are you here?
So what is your role in my life and why are you here? Keeps me moving so I don't stand still. I don't become stagnant.
Hmm.
I I don't stand still.
Hmm. Okay. I want you to ask it, why do you have to do this?
Why do I have to do this? Last year I went through extreme rough patch because I almost got this message like move like never before. And I took a road trip all over South Africa. I drove more than 4,500 kilometers in my car
Mhm.
just by myself. So I drove, I was in the central part of South Africa, then I went to the coast where I grew up. Then it was my 50th birthday, and I took a balloon, like helium balloons, and I just went walking there by the ocean by myself. I didn't even have people around me.
Mhm.
And it was almost like I wanted to celebrate my life, but I didn't know what I was celebrating because there was no one around me. My parents passed on, my brother and sisters were far away, and the place that I grew up was so unfamiliar. It just looked so strange to me. I had no like affinity to it anymore. In fact, it actually repulsed me. It was like the time gone by completely. I literally drove my car that it was like completely broken. I drove it in the state that it couldn't drive anymore.
Right. Right.
And yeah, so I mended it, I sold it, and now I'm a year without a car because I thought to myself, if I can stop that, if I can stop that urge to get in a car and just drive and have no sense of where I'm going and why I'm doing this, then I sort of cut the wings, if it makes sense.
Right. So I want to remind you, like I said, every part of you believes that it's doing something good. So that's what we're really going to try to continue to stay with this part and kind of figure out.
Mm.
So I want you to just call this part of you to mind again, this red, fiery, warm part of you that lives in your neck. And I want you to ask it, what would happen if I stood still?
Mm. What would happen if I stand still? It's like I don't know if there will be meaning to life.
Okay. All right. I want you to go ahead and continue tuning into that part of you. You're doing great. Really sense it, really feel it. And I want you to ask it, what is your function in my life? How are you helping me?
What is your function in my life and how are you helping me? It's a driving force. It gives me ambition.
Mhm.
It,
Right, right. Okay. I want you to ask it, what is your purpose in my life?
what is the purpose in my life of this red fire energy? Well, it basically helped me to explore the world. It got me out of my comfort zone, got me out of my home country, my culture, everything that was known to me,
Mhm.
and it set me off on a journey to discover other worlds and other parts of the earth and meet people from all over the world, different cultures, and to broaden my horizons.
Mm. Mhm. Okay. All right. You're doing great. I want you to go ahead and take a deep breath in. I want you to ask that part of you that gets distracted and bored easily. What is your only intention in my life?
What is your only intention in my life to get me distracted and bored easily? It's basically not to conform to
Mhm.
social norms,
Mhm.
to challenge the social structures,
Mhm.
to show others there are different ways in life, not one way.
Mhm.
And material possessions are not that important in life.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. So we can see that this part of you, it's very deeply attached to
Mm.
meaning and value and purpose, expanding your horizons, being the best, not conforming, right? So there's a lot of
Mhm,
good that comes from this part of you, right?
mhm.
But what is the downfall of this part of you that gets distracted and bored easily? What are the negative things that happen because of it?
Mm. Well, definitely because I can't stay too long in one place too long, whether it's a city or a job or a relationship. You don't have a lot of deep connections. So I did form a lot of connections over the years, and there are still those people around, but some people fell away.
Mhm.
Uh, So there would become a day where you just sit and then you would like, where's everybody? And then there's no one
Right, right.
because you put distance between you and other people, and I mean, I'm 51 and I lived in 5 different continents, learned languages, met thousands of people. So there was a lot of energy poured into places and people and building up things, whether
Mhm.
it's a house or property or cars or money or whatever. But I don't have anything to show for it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
And that is the scary part because, you ask yourself now, what is the next step? What's the next 5 to 10 years gonna look like?
Right.
Because clearly I see the pattern and you also realize it's not a healthy pattern. But then again, it's like contradicting yourself because now I'm starting to have like asking myself, who am I?
Right.
If I can't identify with that area in my life anymore, it doesn't serve me anymore, then who am I as a person? So it's very
Yeah,
tricky.
it is very
It's almost
tricky.
like you defeating yourself. You like everything that you've known and everything that you've believed in now doesn't play a role anymore because you can't keep going on like this. And I realize that.
Right.
So I think that's the downfall. To recognize it, I think it's good to recognize it. That's the first step in the right direction.
Right. Right.
And I think this session with you, I think it's also important because now there's an opportunity to really talk about it, and actually think about it because it's an important step in my life now, going forward.
Right. So let's tune back into that part of you. And I want you to ask that part of you, how old was I when you first came into my life?
How old was I when you first came into my life? The restlessness and the distraction. And it was when I was maybe 17, 18. I was 2 years from going out of the house and that feeling of being trapped.
Mhm.
So I would go sit in the car in the garage
Mhm.
and start listening to music,
Mhm.
just sitting there and not want to be in the house because there was a hostile atmosphere.
Right.
I couldn't go out because my father didn't allow me. It was definitely a year, 2 years before I left school. Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. So we can see why this part of you came into your life and when it came into your life, right? And we can also clearly see that it has been working for you for some time, but it's not necessarily working for you as much anymore. which is pretty
Mm-mm.
typical of parts of us, is that they work for a period of time and then they stop working for us. So I want you to tell me and tell this part of you, how are you and how is your life different now than when you were 17 or 18 years old?
It's very fascinating because when I was younger, I had like this whole life in front of me, all these dreams and aspirations to travel, and it was ahead of me. And then I did do all of it. So I went on this journey and I did conquer everything and I did move like a crazy person, and now it's behind me,
Mhm.
so then it was the motivation, and now it's like almost the relief. It's like I don't have to do anymore because I've done it, you know?
Mhm.
And then why would I want to do it anymore? If I lived in all sorts of such scenarios and weird, you know, accommodations and cruise ships and cabins and sharing with people and eating different foods and living in Dubai and
Right.
all these things, like, it doesn't make sense anymore basically. Back then it was fine, but not anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want you to tune into that part of you again. 'Cause right now, its job and its role is to help you, like, it gives you that feeling of restlessness, right? When you've maybe been in a place for too long. And part of that, I feel like, is because it doesn't want you to feel trapped in the same way that you felt trapped when you were 17 or 18 years old. So it kind of gives you that burst of like, gotta go to the next, to the next. But is
Mhm.
there, I'm wondering if we can give it a new, more helpful role in your life. We don't have to get rid of it unless you want to. But if you don't want to, we can give it a different job in your life.
Yeah, I think knowing myself, I, I probably won't get rid of it completely,
That's fine.
but also I don't need to prove anything anymore to anyone or even to myself.
Right.
So it's liberating because I know I still can do it. I still have it in me, but at the end of the day, I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I don't have to show that you know, I can do all these things and go all these places and explore the world, and I've done it. It's literally behind me now. And I would really love to be in a place where I can be more at peace. I think I picture myself now in a very little quaint little area where there's more nature around me.
Mhm.
Uh, Not necessarily a big city, but that's my dream now, is to be at a place where I can be at peace and not feel this need to uproot myself and move again.
Right. Typically, the part has you, once you feel that feeling, it has you kind of moving outward. But I'm wondering if I'm getting this image of like, could it, when you feel that feeling, could instead of it being a sign that you need to leave or do something different, could it be a downward, more rooting energy? Like to dig the roots deeper into where you are once you find that place of peace.
I think if I could stay, let's say, in a job now and then let it propel me forward in the job.
Okay.
So not necessarily changing jobs, but to stay in the job and then let it propel me forward as a more senior role or like a higher, you know, say more managerial position maybe.
Right. Okay.
I think that would be something I would really appreciate not to,
Mhm.
because I mean there was a time where I changed jobs every 6 months.
Right.
And then it doesn't look good on my CV as well. And then some people don't want to hire me because they ask me, why do you move so much? Why do you change jobs so much? So it's even impacting me in a negative way in my career.
Right. Right. So how does that I want you to tune back into that part of you and I want you to ask it, how does it feel about instead of moving you to different things all the time, how does it feel to allow you to stay in the job and let it propel you forward into a more senior role?
Okay, how would it look if I stay in the job and let this energy propel me to excel in my job where I'm currently at and move me up the career ladder, have more of a senior role, managerial role, and explore within my current situation other avenues, not necessarily changing jobs to create those avenues.
How does that part of you feel about that?
You see, this is why I'm saying my brain is so active because it thinks in terms of 6 months, 6 months. So I say to myself now, okay, let's give it another 6 months and then see what happens.
Okay.
For me, when I hear people stay in jobs for 20, 30 years at the same job, it's for me unimaginable. I can't even imagine that. So that is what I'm saying. We people that have that stability, they built and they moved up in the ladder in the career path, but it would have totally be so boring for me. I don't think I would
Well,
have
that's
lost.
that's a belief right there in and of itself, right? That you've created somewhere along the line that it's boring because it doesn't have to be. I think it's a belief that's propelled by this part of you.
Mhm. So it's not necessarily the right belief.
Well, you can believe anything. I could believe that it's boring to stay in a job, or I could believe that it's safe and secure and steady and that that feels really good to me. And based on my belief, I'm going to feel differently about the situation. So you've created a belief that it's boring. So therefore, it propels you to do something different. But if you changed your belief about it, then it would change the way you feel about it.
But what do you do about the restlessness in your body?
Right. That's why we're trying to tune into this part and we're trying to ask it what it needs. What does it need to feel less restless? Does it need something from you?
What do you need from me to feel less restless? It's there, and I know it's it's exactly what you're saying. I have to now take this energy and use it differently to where I am now in my life.
Right.
So I need to find that part in me that now deals with this energy in a different way.
Okay.
Because the energy is not going to change. I can tell you that burning, fiery, propelling, moving forward energy is very still there. And but like I also mentioned, it doesn't make sense anymore because I've done it now. I've done all of that. So it doesn't have to be that way anymore.
What I'm seeing is that this part, it has served its purpose in your life, but now you need
Mhm.
to use the energy in a different way. So, what I'm asking is, how are you going to use that energy now? And is it this part
Mhm.
that's going to carry that forward, or is it a different part that's going to carry this new energy forward?
I would need to do more meditation,
Okay.
like really calm down my energy, like breathing exercises, sit by the ocean, do maybe more yoga, like stretching.
Mhm.
It's there's a thing now in the health world, they call it regulating your nervous system.
Right. Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think that will be for me very important to explore that avenue of as soon as I feel this restlessness and boredom and this fire energy to calm it down,
Yeah. To
to bring it
stabilize with
down.
it. Yeah. Stabilize it.
Yeah,
Ground with it.
to not let it let me be like leave, just blown all over the place, but make me now, like you say, more rooted.
Yeah. So, how does that part of you feel about doing a little bit more grounding?
No, it feels good because, like I say, I mean, our country was politically very unstable. So, so there was a part of me that wanted to get out of South Africa. And now it's the opposite. Now I don't want to go anywhere. I want to be here. I want to ground myself in my country, but I'm not sure yet where in my country
Right.
I want
That's
to be
okay.
permanently.
Right. And that's okay, right? I think the first step is just learning how to ground this energy a little bit more, right?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
So I want you to just do one last thing with me here. I want you to imagine that part again. And I want you to go ahead and I want you to repeat after me. Thank you for helping me the way you did.
Thank you for helping me the way you did.
It's had a very powerful impact on my life.
It had a very powerful impact on my life.
You've helped me be free
You helped me be free
in moments when I felt trapped.
in moments where I felt trapped.
But I'm free now,
I'm free now,
and you're free to transform
and you are free to transform
into the energy that I need now.
into the energy that I need now.
All right. And I want to just give you a moment. Is there anything else that you want to say to that part?
Yeah, I think, like you say, I want to thank that part because I've been exposed to things that most people won't even see half of their life, and I wouldn't have imagined this life or this journey that I was on.
Right.
I'm very grateful. I'm actually very grateful.
Right. And now you're in a new season where you get to use this energy in a different way, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I want you to go ahead and take a deep breath in and out. Take another deep breath in and out. And now I'm going to count you back to full awareness. With each number, you will become more aware of your surroundings, bringing this feeling back to the room. So, on the count of one, you're becoming more aware. On the count of two, you're aware of the room and the sounds around you. On the count of three and four, taking another deep cleansing breath. And on the count of five, whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the room. How was that for you?
It was wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, good. Do you have some clarity around it now?
Yeah, I think this is definitely, like I say, came at the right time. It's
Good.
it's something refreshing. Thank
Good.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for trusting me to guide you through that process. And I will check in with you in a couple days, okay, to see how you're doing. All
Thank
right.
you. I
Sounds good.
appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Bye.
I want to thank our caller for joining us for this powerful session. What stood out to me most about this conversation is that what looked like distraction, boredom, and restlessness was not random at all. It was a part of her that learned to keep moving so she would never have to feel trapped, stagnant, or stuck. And that is what makes this kind of work so powerful. When we stop reducing ourselves to surface level labels and begin to understand the deeper story underneath our patterns, everything can start to shift. What once looked like a flaw can start to make sense. What once felt frustrating to us can begin to feel human. And the part of us that we have been fighting can finally be met with compassion. As you reflect on this session, I want to invite you to ask yourself, what pattern in you may have once been protective, but no longer fits the life you want now? And what might become possible if you no longer had to run, prove, escape, or start over in order to feel safe? If this episode stirred something in you and you are ready to explore the subconscious stories shaping your life, I would love to support you. You can learn more about working together or apply to be coached on the podcast by visiting shiftyourstorypodcast.com or using the links in the show notes. I hope that this was helpful, and I'm sending you so much love and gratitude. Until next time. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us today for this episode of the Shift Your Story, Change Your Life podcast. If today's conversation sparked something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Feel free to send me a message on social media. I'm at the Allie Rose on both Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to be coached on a future episode or explore what it would look like to work with me one-on-one, head over to shiftyourstorypodcast.com. And if you never want to miss an episode, make sure to subscribe and leave a rating and review. It helps more people find this work. Until next time, keep shifting, keep growing, and most importantly, I want you to remember that your story isn't set in stone. You always have the power to shift it.